Hello, my name is Wendy Dunn. I'm a local author and I write about the Tudors. I thought I'd like to share with you some pages from one of my novels. It's also a very important day in my own writing life today. I've just sent off the proofs of my fourth novel, All Manner of Things, and which makes me think about the resilience of writers to reach this stage in our writing lives, to actually send off our proofs and know that very soon we'll be getting the physical versions of all our hard work. It actually takes a lot of bravery and resilience to get to this, arrive at this point. So I'm very, very excited today to know that very soon I'll be sharing with people my fourth novel. This novel was written in 2014. It was my second published work. It targets the young adult reader, although it's been read with great enjoyment by older people as well. So there's a section in this which I thought really targets resilience. This book recounts the last year of the life of Anne Boleyn through the point of view of Catherine Carey, her niece. Catherine Carey in this story is a girl of 14. She's a true historical person. We're not 100% certain of her age, but there was enough evidence to sway me that she was 14 in 1536, which was the year Anne Boleyn was executed. There's a legend about Catherine Carey that she was actually there with her aunt on the day that she was executed. She was a witness to her aunt's execution. So this story is actually tells the story of Kate at the court of Henry VIII during the last year of her aunt's life. In fact, it's not quite a year, it's probably about 6 months. So it starts at the end of 1535, and then of course ends on the day that Anne Boleyn loses her life, which was May the 19th, 1536. This section I'm reading to you is when Kate is still settling into the court of Henry VIII. She's a young girl. She's being brought up away from court, so she feels very lost, surrounded by all the things that are happening, the intrigue, and of course she's very much aware that by this stage of the story that her aunt is no longer in favour with her husband Henry VIII. So this is when she's discovered that one of her the women that surround Anne Boleyn has made a marriage that hasn't been approved by the king, and this woman is actually the niece of Henry VIII, and needed to have her marriage approved. So I'll start reading it now. Look at what Lady Margaret writes to her Tom. She turned a page and gave the book to Kate. My heart is set not to remove, for whereas I love faithfully. Kate read on, touched by the heartfelt words. There's more, said Madge. Despite her thick layer of clothes, Kate shivered. Her fingers, numbed by the cold, clumsily turned the page to read on. Wind rattled the window behind her. The rain hit the glass like small stones, the large droplets bursting and forming tiny rivulets that raced down the glass. Something moved in the upper corner of the window. A cobweb, broken into parts, swayed in the current of air from the crack between window and stone. Another darting movement drew Kate's attention. Locked together on the cobweb's edge, two spiders tumbled, one big and black, and the second, a paler spider, half the size of the other. Their legs a mass of confusion. The two spiders twisted and fought, going one way and then another. The colour of the smaller spider reminded Kate of her fingertip, held out to candlelight. Madge moved restlessly beside her. Turning away from the spider's ferocious battle, Kate returned the book to her cousin. Why should the king mind that they're wed? Thomas Howard is noble and a lord. Her stepfather popped into her thoughts. It's not that he's low-born. He may not be low-born, but he's not of the same station as Lady Margaret. You know her lineage? Kate thought for a moment, her concentration captured again by the spiders. There was no doubt that theirs was a fight to the death. Black and pale legs entangled together, making it difficult to see where one spider started and the other ended. Poison dewed a cobweb as mimicking the raindrops falling on the outside of the glass. Seeing Madge's growing irritation, she turned to her cousin and shook her head. Forgive me, I do not. For shame, Kate, you should know this. If Lady Margaret is the king's niece, then it should be easy to determine that she must be the daughter of one of the king's two sisters. She's not a Brandon, so she has not sprouted from Mary Tudor's marriage to the Duke of Suffolk. That leaves the king's elder sister Margaret, she who wed James the Scottish king. After his death, she married Margaret's father in lustful haste and soon regretted it. Margaret was their only child. I was here at court when her father brought her to the king after he stole her away from her mother. It mattered little that the king's sister begged her brother to send her daughter back to her. By that time, the king had decided to keep his niece as a chess piece to put forward for consideration in the marriage games played by the royal houses. He has only a few marriageable aged women close enough in blood and to the crown to barter over with his fellow kings. Now Lady Margaret is damaged goods and with a husband to boot. Do you understand why the Queen waits for the right time to break the news to the king about Margaret's marriage? Kate nodded and lowered her head. She seized yet another reason to give thanks that the king did not recognise her as his daughter. Her world constricted to just her thoughts. She had only been at court for a short time, but already the stories about how so many marriages came about threatened her. 2 years ago, Catherine, the Duchess of Suffolk, wed a man more than 4 times her age, a man she once called father. Now Madge talked of bartering and chessboards. There was no talk of hearts, rather the games of king and the marketing of human flesh. It made her feel uneasy. More than that, it stirred within her feelings of disgust and horror. Her mother had married for love and wanted the same for her. Mary had defied her father when he put forward his candidates for Kate's hand. She's my daughter, she had said. This time it is for me to say when and to whom Kate weds. When the right time comes, I will talk to her and see what is in her heart before deciding on her husband. Mary, you're a fool, her grandfather had shouted. Bucking at having to adapt to her mother's new marriage, Kate had felt her mother had deserved that and her grandfather's fury. When he rode away without giving his blessing or even bidding her farewell, Kate blamed her mother. Remembering that day, she recalled how he had glared at her in passing with stern coldness. She shivered now for another reason than this winter morn. She had taken the hurt and then waited to hurt her mother, the first of many times. Bowing her head, Kate steepled her fingers together and thought. Her mother had always tried to do the best for her, tried to protect and keep her safe from this heartless world she found herself in. Now Kate realised her mother had always let her be herself. The anger towards her mother swayed like the broken cobweb above her head. Only a few sections of thread kept it secured to stone. Life was not black or white. It had rarely easy answers and was hard to fight when one stood against many, almost impossible if you were a woman. But the lies, all the lies, How could her mother let her believe she was the daughter of one man when she really was the daughter of another? The smaller spider broke away, retreating under the shadow of the stone overhanging the window. The black one weakly stretched out its legs, tried to move, its efforts to escape entangling it more and more in the remains of the cobweb, while the other spider relaxed and waited for the larger one to wind its own winding cloth as it succumbed to poison. What if her mother spoke the truth in her letter? She hadn't wanted to lie. The lie gave her the only means to seize power over her life. But surely it was wrong to lie. Kate blinked away tears. What right had she to judge her mother? Aunt Nan had said her mother had the strength to untangle herself from the web of court. Aunt Nan's voice echoed in her thoughts. No one owns her now. Her aunt's heartache and envy had been palpable. Already the time with her aunt had shown her that women must fight for power to live, to love where their hearts decide, using whatever weapons they could to surmount an unequal battle. Had the black spider believed the smaller one an easy target? The pale Victoria spider latched itself upon the bigger one and began to feast. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope everyone is surmounting what has been a really surreal, scary, stressful, and if I dare say, shitty year. But we are resilient. We are all resilient, and we can get through this, and we will rebuild to a better day. So thanks again, and hope to see you at the Eltham Library in the future. Bye.